So I got a reminder of a show I started watching that I wanted to share with you guys. It is called The House of David, and it's on Amazon Video. It is a slow release, so there's like 4 episodes out right now with more that they say is coming soon. And it had me doing some research on King David. Now, eventually on this channel, we will get into the books of David and you'll find out about the life of this poet. But it explains why there's so much volume, why it is he's so prolific. And that is because when he was a shepherd, it's his mom who taught him how to play the stringed instrument. So he actually wrote songs while he was out there in the fields. And remember, this is a society where you were 13 years old, you're a grown person. And Jesse and the birth of David has controversy. I went digging because there was something on there that made me go, what? And then another thing, so it made me go digging around on Chabad, I think it's .org. So that's a great resource if you want to know all kinds of different Jewish anything. Like if you want to read Hebrew, you want some cultural context, you want some, that's a great source. I like to go there when I'm trying to back check different things. And they talked about, on the show, they make it where it's Jesse's son, but with a Canaanite woman, which is why Jesse was no longer considered a leader. And he was booted out because you weren't allowed to do that. No touchy like that. On the other side, though, on Chabad.org, they talked about how in reality it was the mom. What had happened was that Jesse was feeling deep in his feels about Ruth being a Moabite, not feeling like he was quite Jewish enough to be Jewish. So he was going to go he stayed away from his wife because he didn't want to taint her pure Israelite self with his not pure Israelite self. So he was in his feels, and he was staying away from his wife, and then he was going to go, marry a Canaanite woman. She was a slave that belonged to them, and he wasn't freeing her for the sake of just freeing her. He was going to free her so he could marry her. And she went and told his wife what his intention was, and they put a veil on his wife. So he didn't commit adultery, but he also didn't know he was sleeping with his wife. And she got pregnant, but she didn't tell him, and it wasn't until she was 3 months along that when you couldn't deny it. So they thought she cheated on Jesse. So David was, in either situation, a symbol of shame. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't loved by his mother, but the older brothers, the 7 older brothers, were not particularly nice to him. And it sounds like the reports are Jesse wasn't too nice to him either. And he was actually put out in the field. And he got good at the sling, and they did not send people out there with him. He was out there by himself with wild animals and the sling because he was proof of their shame, and they just didn't care what happened to him. So it's like, wow, no wonder there's such a volume of music by this young man so deep in his feels. And no wonder, because remember, it's all about the glorification. The choice of David for his faithfulness, and the fact that all that in the face of Saul and the arrogance that he was showing to put him in that place. That's a comeuppance that's like astronomical. And that's a thing to remember. As a content provider for, biblical stuff that is way better at anything and all of that than me. Likes to remind us with the name of his company. It's all about the fishes and loaves. We present the fishes and loaves, and the Lord amplifies. It's about the glorification of God. And to remember not to get too full of ourselves, because if he wants to take it down and bring somebody up out the dirt to make it happen, he can, and he will, whenever and wherever. Makes the Psalms for me a whole bunch more understandable. And I hope it does for you too.